ice for my cup, I drink wet.
Yo, what's up, YouTube? Today is October 27th, 2021. I didn't sleep too well last night, so you might notice like some bags in my eyes and my face a little puffy a little bit, but I might take a nap later on. I'm just trying to get some sunlight. But anyway, I just want to make this quick video about single black women in the church. I just want to give my take on it and why there's so many single black women and why there might be a lack of black men. I might make a different video of why there's a lack of black men in the black church. But for me, the way I take it on it is, there's certain things that the church is meant for, and there are certain things that the church is not meant for, right? And I think a lot of people, they go to church for the right reasons and for the wrong reasons. I think you have people who are looking for certain things. You know how they say you go looking for the right things in the wrong places? Sometimes church can be the wrong place to look for certain things as well. The way I see it is, for example, like you have people who have financial problems. You have people who have financial problems, right? I'm sorry, I'm kind of looking around. I'm checking for some things around here. I'm actually looking out for somebody as well. But you have some people who have financial issues, right? And they'll go to a church. Now, I'm a person, I do believe in prayer, right? I believe in, praying over your life. I believe in the power of prayer. But there's just, the church is not a place where you really want to go for. I don't think you want to go for financial advice. You have to go to a financial advisor, not a preacher. Preachers, they may help you a little bit, but financial management is not something you want to go to church to find the answers for. Same thing, even when it comes to marital advice. The church is a place where they pressure you to get married. A lot of times it's because they think it's going to get you out of sexual sin. They don't tell you that you can actually still be in sexual sin even within your marriage. But anyway, I don't think the church is really a place to get marital advice neither, because to be honest with you, the church, especially the black church, I think the divorce rate is actually higher for Christian marriages than in secular marriages. And I think one of the reasons why is because I think people like in the secular world, I think they're more willing to seek advice from professionals, people who have a certification, people with college degrees in certain things, certain specifics. I think a lot of Christians, they see church as the answer to every aspect of your life, and it's just not. Even when it comes to children, I think you have a lot of parents who have trouble kids, and they try to go to, once again, they go to church. Like, once again, there's nothing wrong with prayer and things, but you have to talk to somebody who is professional, somebody who has actually studied that field. I believe a lot of parents would be surprised at how much better of a parent they'll be if they seek, actual parenting advice. You take a parenting class, talk to somebody who has studied child psychology, and the effects of parenting, because you have a lot of people out here who are making a lot of parenting mistakes, things that damage your children, and many times don't even realize that they're actually damaging their kids. So I think if you take a class with someone or just talk to somebody who is trained, certified, educated in the field of raising children, you'll have much better results. Now, the thing about single women, there's nothing wrong with being single, but I think that there is cons to it. Like a lot of people talk about you should get married to, like I said, the church says you should get married to avoid sexual sin. And the way I kind of understand what they're talking about. But getting married just to avoid sexual sin is, to me, is a setup for a failed marriage. If you're just married because you don't want to commit fornication, you're trying to stay away from committing fornication, then you're already set up for failure. That's what I think. That's not a real foundation of a marriage. That's not a reason why you should get married. That's just the way I see things. Yeah, there we go. So I'm at, yeah, there we go. So I'm at a different spot, but anyway, you can see the bags on my eyes a lot more. But I might edit the video so it'll look better. But anyway, um, I was talking about getting married just to avoid sexual sin, and that is, I think, is a bad idea. That's a setup for a failed marriage. You know, um, you know, marriage. The true purpose of marriage is really to set up a foundation for children to have a more stable household. That's what I believe, and I think that love and romance is a perk that comes along with it. I don't think that marriage is all about love. I don't think it's 100% all about love and happiness. I don't think that marriage is. I think marriage is not really about happiness per se. Like it may, it. I think it's like a. See, I think in order to be happy, you have to make that decision. You can't depend on somebody else to make you happy. That's not their job. That's too much work for somebody else. That's one of the reasons why when you get in a relationship, no matter what you do, you know, you're constantly jumping through hoops to try to make the person that you with, you're trying to make them happy because, it's nothing you can really do. You can't make a person happy who doesn't um, really want to be happy. They don't put in the effort to make themselves happy. You understand? Like to me, you have to decide to make yourself happy. So, um, anyway, marriage is more about yeah, it's more about building a foundation and building a future for yourself. Because I see people growing old, getting older, and they don't have a spouse. One thing I've noticed a lot, and some of y'all probably kind of notice this as well, especially as you get older, once you hit your late 20s and 30s, depending on how old your parents were when they had you. One thing you'll notice is, especially if they're not married, especially with your mothers, you may see it with your fathers too, but especially you notice this with your mothers, how many of them have this idea that they don't need a man, that a husband is not really a it's not a priority in their lives. And what you start to realize is that you, as the child, you start to start to have to take responsibilities and kind of feel that try to fill that void of them not having a spouse. They'll call you every other day, like once or twice a week. You have to go over to your mother's house, usually your mom. You have to go over her house and help her do something, help her move something around, help her do this. And there's nothing wrong with helping your parents, but it gets to the point where you start to realize, and some of y'all probably y'all probably dealing with this right now. It gets to the point where you realize, you know, your mother, she needs a husband. She needs a man. And you start to realize that. Like you may not realize that at first, but over time as the years go by and you the older she gets, she needs you to do more and more and more, and she becomes more dependent. And a lot of it is because she doesn't have a spouse. She doesn't have a husband. Next thing you know it, once they get to a certain age, they may have to move back in the house with you, or you have to put them inside of a senior citizen home, or sometimes if they can afford it. If they can't afford it, You're looking for places for them to live. You know, a lot of things. There's a lot of pressure that can be taken off you as an adult and as a adult child. That can there's a lot of pressure that can be taken off of you if they were married. If your mother, especially the mothers, dads as well. I'm not saying the fathers are not like that too. They need, of course, you're going to need help as they get older, but usually when they are unmarried, they tend to have a lot more issues, even financially. Like even like when I look at my grandfather divorced my grandmother long. I think it was before I was even born. Yeah, it was probably before I was born. They got a divorce, and one thing I noticed the difference between the two is even though my grandfather and his wife, his second wife, which I call her my step. I still call her my grandmother, right? She's more like my step grandmother, but I still call her my grandmother. And even though they both passed away, our family, like the younger generation, we didn't have the burden of really, we didn't have the financial burden of needing to, constantly do for them, do for them, do for. We had to do some things. I'm not saying we did nothing. Every now and then, they needed help with certain things. I need you to help me with this, help you understand, certain things. But it wasn't constant, like you're taking care of a child, because they were married. They had their own place. They actually lived together into their death. I think my grandmother, she's really my step grandmother, but I call her my grandmother. She passed away first, and then my grandfather, he passed away second. But they actually lived a little bit more comfortably because they were still married. I just saw the difference. Then my grandmother, she's 90 now, or like 91. She got divorced. She never remarried, and she eventually lost her house. She lost. She wasn't able to drive. She got to the point where she can't really do for herself anymore. She just can't. She can't do for herself like she used to. She can't really cook anymore. She can barely use the microwave. And my grandmother on my father's side, the same thing. I noticed, same thing. She never remarried. I don't think she remarried, but she never remarried. And one of the first things I noticed is she was not able to keep up with our house payments anymore because they just weren't. She wasn't making income. She was getting older. She didn't have the income, so now she's living with her granddaughter. Is her granddaughter or her daughter or her niece? She's living with her niece, and yeah, niece and her daughter. I'm sorry. I'm having, like, I'm thinking about something that's going on back there. But my niece, she's living with her niece and her daughter, and she can't really, like, I guess she can do a little bit for herself, but I just see the difference of when I saw the difference between getting old and you're married and getting old unmarried. I see the difference. I see the difference. Like, you know, um, I think you have a lot less health problems as well when you get married, because you're under pressure to go to the doctor more often, and so. But anyway, like, I'm kind of getting off subject a little bit, but you know, um, I was getting back to single women in the church. In the church, I feel like a lot of women are told things that also keep them single. One of those things um, is like, wait for the man to come and get you. Now, I kind of understand that traditionally the man approaches the woman. The man comes and gets the woman. I understand that. He who finds his wife finds a good thing. I understand. But in reality, if you want to be practical, dating and relationships is a competitive market. It's competitive. It's actually kind of part of the economy as well, because the economy kind of is driven on relationships and marriage and having kids. So, our economy is also kind of driven by relationships and marriage as well. And you know, you got to be honest with yourself. Like, if you're in a church and you have a lot of women and there's barely any men, why are you, and you want to get married, right? Why are you spending so much time in a place where your chances of finding a husband is very low? That doesn't make any sense. There's nothing wrong with going to church every Sunday, but if you're at church Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right, Sunday again, and there's barely any men in there, you're not spending enough time at places where you can expect to find something. You have to go places where you'll find what it is you're looking for. If you're looking for seashells, you need to go to a beach. You're not gonna find seashells in the middle of the woods. You're not gonna find seashells at the top of a mountain somewhere. You have to go where seashells are found. If you want to catch crabs, you have to go where crabs. Most likely, you'll find some crabs. So if you want a man, you have to first decide what kind of man you're looking for, right? And then figure out what kind of places does that man usually hang out, because certain personalities tend to hang out in certain places, right? Certain people with certain interests, they hang out in certain places. So you have to go to that place, or hang out in that place where that type of person usually hang out. If you like a person who works out and takes care of themselves, those people like that, they're usually at the gym. You find people like that in the health market. They go to certain places. They go jogging. Certain places where people like to jog, and you might run into somebody that you like. So same thing with certain hobbies. If you want an outgoing person, what do outgoing people usually do? Where do they hang out at? You need to hang out in that same setting. You understand? So dating and relationships it's a competitive market. You can't just sit and look cute and think that the man is just going to come and pick you up. Some cases that might happen, but a lot of times you have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan, and you got to have a plan and a strategy in place to get what it is you want in life. Like a lot of churches, they kind of just teach you to sit and wait, and sit and wait, and sit and wait, and just pray on it. And there's nothing wrong with praying, but you got to put some action. Faith without works is dead, like they say. So you're putting all this faith, but you're not putting any work. And as a woman, you need to put in work as well. Because the truth is, like they say that women are the gatekeepers to sex, and men are the gatekeepers to relationships and marriage. And so if a man wants to have sex with you, there's certain things he has to do. He has to convince you that, give you reasons why you should have sex with him, right? The ball's in his court, right? If you're a woman, I want to have sex with you, I have to convince you or do things to convince you that you should, right? And for the woman, if a woman wants to get married, the ball's in her court, because like I said, the man is the gatekeeper to relationships and marriage. So if a woman wants to get married, the ball is in her court. Now you have to convince him of why he should stay loyal to you. You have to have game. You have to have game. You have to have strategy in place. You have to give them a reason to delete those girls' numbers out of your phone and stay loyal to you. You can't expect somebody to just come up to you and just stay loyal to you. Loyalty is a very valuable thing, right? So what makes you think that loyalty is something that should just come for free? If you want somebody to stay loyal to you, you have to give them a reason to stay loyal to you. You can't have a bad attitude all the time and give somebody a hard time and disrespecting them constantly, and then the next minute complain while they're not loyal to you. That doesn't make any sense. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that's all I really want to say about that is, I feel like a lot of churches, they keep women single because they I'm not saying what they teach is totally wrong. I just believe that a lot of women in church won't have the problems that they have when it comes to dating if they were just had a more practical approach to the situation. A lot of women are not really taught that you have to actually do something to convince a man to marry you. They're taught that the man is supposed to just come up to you and just fall in love with you like that. No, a man is not supposed to just love you like that. No, you gotta. It's a two-way street. You gotta work on yourself. You gotta build. You gotta have game. That's what they call it. You gotta have game. You gotta have strategy. Why do you think that some men who cheat on their wives or cheat on their whatever woman, a lot of times you notice they cheat on somebody who's less attractive than they are, than the woman that they have. And I think one of the reasons why men cheat with women who are less attractive is because less attractive women, they have to have something. They know they're not attractive, right? So they gotta have something to pull a man, and usually it's personality. They may have a nice mouthpiece. They know how to talk to the man right. They know how to say the right things, whisper in his ear and say the right thing. Like I said, relationships and marriage, it's competitive. Just because you're married doesn't mean you're safe. You got a lot of women in your circle, in your area, who are jealous of you. Some of your friends are actually jealous of you and can't wait to take your man. And you may not always realize that. It's usually the friends that are whispering in your ear that are telling you things, friends and family who are telling you things that's causing tension in your relationships. And there's a reason for that. A lot of them are single, and in a way they're actually jealous of you, but you don't always see that. You know what I'm saying? So you have to you gotta you have to understand that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's all I wanna say. Um I know this is kinda like this whole video is kinda disorganized because I'm just, like I said, I didn't sleep well last night. I'm really not feeling it well. But I just want to make this video right quick, but I'll talk to y'all next time.